What's going on, y'all? My name is Tino, a competitive Street Fighter player with over 10 years of experience. Today, I want to break down c.Viper, my favorite fighting game character of all time. She's coming to Street Fighter 6 very soon, and she's an incredibly technical and complex character, so I want to give you guys a general understanding of what she does in her previous iteration. So, Street Fighter 4 Viper is a pretty complex character, as I've already said, but we're going to start off slow. We're going to look at the normals first, specifically her most prevalent normals that you would use in a competitive setting. Not that you wouldn't use her other normals, but the most important ones are the ones we're going to talk about today. We're going to start off with Stand Light Kick. Stand Light Kick is a really strong close proximity normal. It turns into Far Light Kick, which is further away, which is also really good for other reasons we'll talk about in a second. But Close Light Kick is pretty plus on block and very plus on hit. Links into Stand Medium Punch, links into Crouch Medium Punch. Very good for starting your offense. If you want to go for some sort of a tick throw, you usually want to use Stand Light Kick. Stand Jab is also plus, but it might whiff on some crouching opponents. So Stand Light Kick is the way to go generally. Standing Medium Punch is sort of in a similar vein. It also is a good pressure tool, right? But there are some other properties that you definitely want to know about it. On counter hit, now on normal hit, it only goes into Crouch Medium Punch. That's a link on normal hit as well. On counter hit, however, if you actually blow up some sort of a button or a crouch tech from your opponent, you're going to be able to link Crouching Heavy Punch as well, which is really strong. Crouching Heavy Punch is, in this game, one of your only normals that goes into EX Seismo, which is one of your main combo starters. So you're definitely going to want to fish for counter hits with this button because it's really fast at 5 frame startup, and it's really good to frame trap with. It's plus on block, very plus on hit. Yeah, just great close normal. It turns into Standing Medium Punch, really great close normal. It turns into a Far Standing Medium Punch if you're a little further away, which isn't quite nearly as good. You almost never purposefully use this move. There are some sort of instances where you might argue that it's good in certain matchups, but it's really not that good. You'd always want to use other normals in any situation where you'd use this normal, right? It's just not that useful. So generally, you want to use the Close Standing Medium Punch. For poking, you could use Standing Medium Kick, which is a little bit better, but as you can see, it's still, pretty stubby. She doesn't have amazing pokes, right? But Far Standing Medium Kick is, a little bit marginally further than her Medium Punch, although it doesn't even look like it. It's not the worst normal in the world, but if you want to poke with something, you can try it. I wouldn't recommend it, though. Next is her Crouching Medium Punch, which is another really strong normal. It's a 5 frame counter poke, so it's really nice to just throw out neutral. Really hard to whiff punish, fast recovery. Crouching Medium Punch is also really nice because it combos into her Medium Thunder Knuckle, which is one of her best sort of like pressure tool / safe confirms, right? Even if you don't know a button into a special is going to hit, the Medium Thunder Knuckle is always like a safe ender because it's not punchable on block. And it's pretty tough to see coming. It's very quick. So even though doing something like that is not a true block string, they can technically interrupt with a DP or an Ultra. They're usually not going to, especially for reasons that we'll go over a little later. So Crouching Medium Kick is her go-to low. She has pretty much like a Shoto low forward in many ways. It's cancelable. It goes relatively far, not quite as far as other Shoto low forwards. Like there's like a, if I reset Ryu here to mid-screen, maybe push him closer to the middle of the screen. Yeah, right there. And hit this button like right here. You'll see that her foot is like touching Ryu's, but the normal doesn't actually connect. That's sort of a common theme with some Viper normals in neutral. She's not an amazing like poke footsie character. That's not really the point of her character. So she really shouldn't be that good at it. But it's still a decent normal. It's still a very strong normal. You want to be able to catch people low in this game. And Viper is very good at it. This normal is very strong. And the fact that it safely confirms into Medium Thunder Knuckle, as I stated with the Crouching Medium Punch as well, that's a really nice thing to have. And on counter hit, this button is also really good because it actually combos into her best combo starter. in EX Seismo. Really, really nice button. Now, standing heavy punch is an interesting normal. It's another proximity normal, right? You get far heavy punch if you're not close enough, which is not a very useful normal. There's a trend there. Generally, her far normals are not nearly as useful as her close normals, so you want to be in their face. That's a design choice for sure. But close standing heavy punch is really, really nice for one reason. You feint it to get extreme plus frames on block, and one of the best combos in the game on hit, right? In Fierce Feint Fierce. This does really nice stun, really nice damage, sets up for really strong Oki. It's just really good. And the fact that it's so plus on block as well, obviously there's no frame counter in this game, but you have to trust me on this one. It's very plus. And she can do basically whatever she wants. She can even just keep looping this until you get hit. It's very, very strong if you know how to utilize it. Crouching heavy punch is sort of in the same vein as standing heavy punch. It's a little bit less plus on block if you feint it, but it's still really, really good. It still gives you Fierce Feint Fierce on hit, her go-to combo, which we'll go over more later when we talk about feints and all that. But yeah, this is also a really good move. In neutral, it's very strong as well because it does have quite a few active frames. If you saw right there, the startup of the move didn't actually reach Ryu, but the later frames did. This is a common occurrence. If you just throw this move out neutral and they walk into it, or if they press a button into it, they're going to get rocked into EX Seismo into some really good damage and really good Oki, right? Or if you have Ultra, into Ultra. Confirmed. It's a really, really nice button. Now, two more normals that aren't crucial to her game plan, but that I did want to talk about because they are going to be pretty prevalent in Street Fighter 6, it looks like, are her down forward heavy kick and her jumping heavy kick. So down forward heavy kick is sort of a niche button in this game. It looks like it'll be much stronger in Street Fighter 6, but you can use it to anti-air, right? It's not bad at anti-airing. It's not the worst button in the game for that. It moves her forward. It's relatively quick. It's not super quick. And it spikes them down, which they can quick rise there and get up pretty quickly. But it does give you some Oki, right? But it does also trade quite often. And especially because it's not a crouching move, you're going to get quite a few trades or just get stuffed using this move. So it's not great. It's really not an incredible move. Jumping heavy kick, however, is a really strong move in seemingly both games, right? In this game, it is a cross-up heavy kick, which is pretty rare. It's less rare in this game than it is in Street Fighter 6, where it's almost non-existent outside of Viper. But it's very, very nice to have. This button also cancels into her air burn kick, which is really nice. When we go over burn kick, we'll talk a little more about that. But being able to do that is very strong. It even combos if you hit it late enough. But you can imagine having to block high and then having to block a cross up high that quickly after blocking that jump in would be pretty tough to deal with for anyone, right? It's a very strong tool to have. And I don't know if she'll have that in Street Fighter 6. We didn't see that from the gameplay we saw, but if she does, expect that to be pretty strong. So now let's move on to her specials. Her specials are the core of her gameplay. You will be using her specials, honestly, sometimes more often than her normals, depending on the matchup. But Seismo is the first one we'll go over here. Now, Seismo is one of the best zoning tools in the game. You can feint it, which is pretty much the entire reason why it's so good. And you can jump cancel it, which is the other reason why it's so good. Now, jump canceling it is important because you can actually chain the Seismo into itself. The reason why that's so strong is because normally the Seismo has pretty bad recovery. You can see her sort of like recovering from that move for quite a while there, but chaining the Seismos makes that recovery almost non-existent, and you can end in a feint. Being able to feint this move in general means that your opponent really cannot ever react with jump to a Seismo, even though technically that should be possible. If they see you raise your hands in the air about the Seismo and you don't feint the Seismo, they'll be able to jump and punish you. But it's the fact that you can feint it that makes this so risky to do, because she has, as we'll talk about later, one of the best anti-airs in the game as well. So Seismo, really strong, hits low, can be chained, can be jump canceled off of for a confirm and neutral. Really, really strong special. EX Seismo is honestly one of the best moves in the game. Once again, it's a common trend with Viper to have many of the best moves in the game. She's an extremely strong character despite being pretty unpopular with the player base at the top level because of her difficulty. But EX Seismo is really, really good because it covers a solid space in the screen. As you can see, if you're full screen or a little bit closer than full screen, this won't connect. But if you're a little bit closer than that, it will connect and you will get a conversion if it hits. You can also chain these together for a really good block string. As you can see, that took away like 10% of his health right there, just off a block string. It's pretty meter inefficient, but worth going for if you need the chip. EX Seismo is also another one of her invincible reversals. It does have quite a few invincible frames, but you can throw her out of it. So there's a little bit of a mind game there, right? EX Seismo is most notable for being the main combo extension in her most iconic combo, Fierce Feint Fierce. As I've done multiple times in this video already. Thunder Knuckle. All three versions have their own purpose, and they're all really good in their own right. So the light version is a low profile move, also safe on block. And this is really nice because it actually goes under things like fireballs. So it's not super viable to react to a bunch of fireballs with this move. But if you're just throwing this out in neutral, you're probably going to be going under something eventually and getting some pretty decent damage. 100 damage is not anything to scoff at. And as you accrue little hits like that on your opponent, they're going to become more frustrated. They're going to make more mistakes. They're going to make more poor decisions. And that's exactly what you want as a Viper player. Medium Thunder Knuckle is a really, really strong, safe pressure ender or combo tool, however you want to call it. It's essentially her low forward fireball, is any button into medium Thunder Knuckle. It's safe on block, does solid damage, 120, nothing to scoff at once again. And yeah, it's just a really good move. And in Ultra, you can cancel this into Red Focus for a crumple, which is busted. It's crazy. Really, really wild that they actually not only added Red Focus to the game, but gave Viper such strong synergy with it. Because once again, she was already a very strong character without this. This just gave her very easy damage for almost no effort. This is a safe string with very little time to interrupt in between, and you just get a ton of damage off of it. Now, heavy Thunder Knuckle is one of the more interesting anti-airs in the game. So if you do it too early, this will actually trade. So if this move trades, which I will try to get right now, you actually get a multitude of options to follow up on that trade. There it is. So yeah, that was the burn kick follow up there. Just an instant air burn kick. Really solid damage for an anti-air. You can also dash forward like that and do another heavy Thunder Knuckle. There it is. Okay. And you can even dash up Ultra for really, really solid damage. Heavy Thunder Knuckle is also a reversal. It's a meterless reversal, one of her only ones that she has. So definitely use it sparingly. It's not, amazing or infallible, but it is a meterless DP. So, great move to have. Now, the EX version of Thunder Knuckle is kind of useless. You don't ever really want to use this move on purpose, but it does serve a purpose in the character's gameplay design, right? Basically, the purpose of this move in the eyes of the devs is to punish you for messing up your feint cancels. So if you're trying to do some Latif block string where you do something like that over and over again, and then you accidentally get the EX Thunder Knuckle, not only are you wasting a bar of meter, you're wasting a bar of meter on one of the most useless moves in the game, and you might even get punished if they really know how to punish you for it. It's not super unsafe to do, but it is unsafe, technically. There are characters who can punish it, and if they know how and they're a strong player, they probably will, and it will not feel great. So this move, never use this move. Never use this move. Even if you're going for like, you can technically do like counter hit standing heavy punch into this move and then combo, right? But like, why? Why would you ever go for that? You don't know if you're going to get counter hit, you know? It's not like Street Fighter 6 where you can get like a punish counter when punishing a move or punishing a DP. It's not like that. They don't have that in this game. Counter hit is completely random. You can style on them with some stuff like that if you really think they're going to press. But don't do that. Don't do that. Unless you're clip farming. Don't do that. We're not going to talk about burn kick on the ground, because this move, much like EX Thunder Knuckle, is pretty useless, but unlike EX Thunder Knuckle, doesn't really serve that much of a purpose. Like, yes, you can get it by accident if you're trying to do super jump burn kick, but it's not really that bad of a thing to get, so it doesn't really punish you that hard, right? It would be more punishing, honestly, if it just gave you a super jump. But super jump burn kick or jump burn kick is one of, once again, I'm going to say this term again, it's one of the best moves in the entire game. Specifically, one of the best 50-50 tools in the entire game. And the reason for that is that, of course, it can cross up. And it gives you a great knockdown, right? Not only all of that, it's also one of her best combo enders mid-screen. Off of Fierce Fan Fierce. So there are some Viper players that you'll watch, and they'll literally just get one knockdown and then just do this over and over again until you die. Or get stunned, or both, right? It's extremely strong. You can also do a Tiger Need instant air burn kick that is basically unseeable. It's an unseeable 50-50. And you can even do the light version of burn kick off a super jump and just stay in front, like for no reason. Like they just did that. They just let you do that. And it's very stupid because in this game there's no parry. There's technically focus dash. You can kind of do that, but like it's pretty inconsistent to try and do against this move, you know, because once again you don't know which side you're gonna land on, and if you hit focus too early, you might just do the focus attack the wrong direction and just whiff it completely. It's very difficult to stop. It's a very difficult move to stop. It's an extremely powerful move. Once again, you can cancel it off of her buttons in the air, which is also really strong. You'll see players like Latif and Tompi doing that quite a bit if you watch Street Fighter 4. But yeah, burn kick, incredible move. One of the best 50-50 tools I've seen in a Street Fighter game, like period. It's one of the best, honestly, in the entire series. I don't think it'll be quite as strong in 6 because of the parry mechanic, but it'll still be pretty strong, I'm sure. So EX Burn Kick, much like her other EX move, EX Seismo, and her Heavy Thunder Knuckle, is also invincible on startup, but you wouldn't really use it like that, to be honest, over her other moves because it doesn't hit crouchers, right? And this is actually changed in Street Fighter 6, but in Street Fighter 4, as you can see, it whiffs. And there is quite a bit of recovery. I'm holding up right now after the recovery, and that's how long it takes me to jump. So, not a very safe move to use. Not a great wake-up move. What it does do, however, really well, is end combos for ridiculous amounts of damage and stun if you want to cash out completely with your meter. There you go. As you can see, that combo almost stunned Ryu completely, doing about 880 stun out of 1000. And 541 damage in this game is nothing to scoff at. Even if it did use all of her super bar, she's not using any ultra there. So that's pretty incredible that she gets that much damage off of a confirm like that. So next I'll briefly talk about her ultras. She has 2, as everyone else does, except for Gen, who has 4. Don't ask. Maybe for a later video. Her Ultra 1 is her go-to Ultra. This is the one that almost everyone will be using. There are many ways to combo into it, very famously after EX Seismo into Burn Kick. Specifically in the corner, but you can actually do this mid-screen with a very specific timing and spacing. I'm not even going to try it because it's that hard to do, but, you know, if you want to try it, give it a shot on your own. I implore you. Another way to combo into this Ultra is via a mechanic that we'll go over in a little bit called the Super Jump FADC. And one last way that I'll talk about now is after a Super Jump cancel off of a button. Which once again we'll talk about when we talk about Super Jumps. Now her Ultra 2 is interesting, but it's not really one that you'd ever use practically. It's more so for style points or for if you want easier confirms into Ultra off of EX Seismo, right? Doing Super Jump FADC is a pretty difficult input. It's one of the more difficult inputs in the whole game. But doing EX Seismo into Super Jump Burning Dance for Ultra 2 is pretty easy relatively, right? It's a pretty nice way to confirm for some decent damage off of EX Seismo if you don't have the execution yet to go for the hard stuff with Ultra 1. Now let's get into the meat of Viper's character, which are the feints and the super jump. So she can feint 2 of her special moves, that being the Seismo and the Thunder Knuckle. These both have very different purposes, so we'll go over both. For Seismo, basically its main purpose is to bait your opponent to jump. You're going to want to threaten some Seismo chains, right? As we went over earlier, this is a pretty easy way to rack up chip damage. So generally people will want to jump it. And like I said before, it's technically reactable. If you see she's about to go for the Seismo, you can jump and punish her. But if I feint it, you're going to get anti-air, right? So that is the main way you want to use this move. Now, her Thunder Knuckle cancels and feints are a little bit more complex. We're only going to be talking about the heavy Thunder Knuckle feint, which is the most important one. It's the fastest one. It's the one that you used for most of her pressure strings and her combos. Though you can use medium Thunder Knuckle, but I don't recommend it. I recommend putting the effort in to learn the heavy Thunder Knuckle cancels or feints. Her Thunder Knuckle feint is most famously used in her main B&B combo route, which this time I'll actually go into depth and explain. This is Fierce Feint Fierce. This is done by doing a heavy punch, either one of her heavy punches, standing or crouching, canceling into a heavy Thunder Knuckle, right? Heavy Thunder Knuckle, and then feinting that Thunder Knuckle. This gives you so many plus frames on hit that you can link another heavy punch. And this gives you some massive damage. Generally, with Fierce Feint Fierce, you want to confirm the second heavy punch into EX Seismo, then go for a burn kick, and if you're close to the corner, you can either do a heavy Thunder Knuckle as an ender. You can do down forward heavy kick to spike them down, or you can do Ultra. This is one of the main ways you'll see people landing Ultra in this game with Viper, and it does a ton of damage. It's basically a comeback mechanic in and of itself. If you get one confirm with Viper and land Fierce Feint Fierce, it's gonna hurt a lot. Now, the other way you would use her feints is...
Are you ready? Fight!
Now, the other way you'd use her feints is during block pressure. So, most of her moves are pretty plus when you feint out of them, if not difficult to interrupt because of the threat of medium Thunder Knuckle. So what you want to do with your block pressure, you'll see players like Latif doing this a lot, is you'll feint your normals, make them plus, and then mix in things like overheads, burn kicks, maybe some Seismos. I'll give you some examples right here so you can just get some ideas of what block pressure with the character looks like when you're feinting your normals. As you can see, I brought him all the way to the corner and did quite a bit of chip damage just doing a block string. Her block strings are incredibly strong, and at any moment I can just let the Thunder Knuckle rock and blow him up for trying to press buttons. Now, Super Jump is a pretty complex but very free-flowing mechanic. The obvious way to use it would be to do a Super Jump and land with a button, right? This is prevalent after things like forward throw, where you actually get a safe jump off of that, and things like after Super Jump burn kick. You can also get a similar sort of jump there on Oki. But usually what you're using Super Jump for is Super Jump burn kick, or to Super Jump cancel her normals and special moves, specifically her Seismo. So as we went over a little bit during the Ultra 1 discussion, you can Super Jump FADC and Super Jump cancel her normals into Ultra. Super Jump FADC is probably a foreign concept to most because it's very specific to Viper. Now, Super Jump FADC is one of the most interesting mechanics in the game. It basically lets her FADC for free, but the cost is a pretty difficult execution barrier, right? You can do literally anything into FADC for free. As you can see, I got an actual FADC there. That's part of what makes this so hard, is that if you do it too early, you're going to get a real FADC and burn 2 bars for no reason. And if you do it too late, or if you don't have meter to burn and you do it too early, you'll just get a Super Jump, which is pretty unsafe to just throw out there, right? The player expression here from Super Jump FADC is ridiculous. Obviously, as I showed before, you could do things like Super Jump FADC your Seismo into Ultra. In the corner, Super Jump FADC becomes an incredibly strong reset tool. As you can see there, I went behind, but you can also actually stay in front there. It's very, very ambiguous. So yeah, really strong mechanic. Not insanely strong, because if you do something like this, it's not like that's plus or anything. You know, if you just do EX Seismo into FADC, you're pretty minus there, but it's very nice to be able to do, right? It's very, very nice to be able to do for free, essentially, where almost no other character in the game can do that. Now, Super Jump canceling buttons is also really, really strong. As explained during the little Ultra segment, you can do this into her Burst Time Ultra or her Burning Dance Ultra, though it is a little bit different. You delay that a little more. There it is right there. And you can also use this mechanic to reset after Super Jump FADC, which is pretty strong. You don't see a whole lot of Viper players doing that, but it is a cool little thing to do, and it probably will catch people the first few times you do it. One of players' favorite ways to use this is after normals, just doing Super Jump into burn kick off of any normal, which we've already actually seen in Street Fighter 6 a little bit. The CPU level 8 would do standing heavy punch or standing medium kick into Super Jump burn kick behind, and it looks like it's intact. It looks like it's still very, very strong in the new game, which is cool to see. Players like Knuckle will do things like stand light kick into Super Jump burn kick, which is so hard to see. And at certain ranges, it's basically impossible to know where it's going to land. Like sometimes I don't even know where it's going to land. So what exactly makes Viper such a difficult character is a question I see getting brought up quite a bit from newer players that either only played Street Fighter 5 or started in Street Fighter 6. And that's a bit of a tricky question to answer, because she is an extremely strong character, right? She's a very, very strong character, and you could just play her with her burn kick and her super safe, strings that are really good. But if you want to truly unlock the character, you're going to be spending at least hundreds of hours, if not thousands, in the lab alone, right? If you watch the things that players like, once again, Latif, who I've mentioned a lot, but he is the best Viper player of all time, Go watch some of his content or some of his gameplay, and you will recognize immediately the things that he's doing as incredibly physically demanding. You know, if you watch my inputs when I'm doing something like this, there are a lot of inputs on the screen, right? And that's because the APM of this character is extremely high, the actions per minute. You will be doing a lot of inputs. They're often very easy to mess up. The timing is strict, and if you mess up, you are punished pretty harshly. As I mentioned earlier, if you get this move accidentally, it's not a good look. You're wasting meter. It's a useless move. If you get this move accidentally during a feint, you're pretty much dead to a good player, to a strong player. Especially like an Akuma or an Ibuki, you're getting knocked down into Vortex. So you never want to do that. So yeah, that's Street Fighter 4 Viper. I hope you guys are excited for Street Fighter 6 Viper. I know I am. I will be playing the hell out of her when she drops on October 15th. If you're looking for more content on Viper and you're excited about her in Street Fighter 6, give me a follow, like, and subscribe. I will be posting plenty more content about Viper, both in this game and in the upcoming release in Street Fighter 6. So yeah, follow along for more, and I'll see you guys in the next one.